I mean, no one gets successful without ever failing in anything.
If you are not even failing, it means you didn't even give yourself the chance, or you didn't even have the chance to try.
Where you place yourself, I think that should be number one thing that people should first evaluate, and then see whether or not the current environment that they are in is actually helping them to grow, or are they actually staying stagnant.
Growth comes with pain, and part of that pain sometimes is letting go.
But this is a wisdom that the three of us only got in recent years also. We weren't like this at the start of our career also.
So, what are we going to do today?
Just gonna have some nice drinks and have a good chat with each other.
Yeah, I guess we see each other so often, but I guess we are still not sick of each other yet.
Actually, it's quite rare. Like, we don't get to hang out like this that much. Most of the time, we are like in a proper work environment.
True.
Yeah. I guess it feels nice to spend time with like that.
I guess the last time we really hung out was in
Monster Hunter.
Wow, that's how many years ago already?
2 or 3 years during COVID period.
Oh shit. Really time passed very fast. Now it's like 2023. That was like 4 or 5 years ago already, I think.
So by the time we finished our last hunt, it was really like 2 a.m.
I wish there was a way to know you were in the good old last hunt before the good old last hunt was over.
Okay, if you have a chance, would you want to relive those days one more time?
Wow, it's like a yes and no thing. Partially, I don't mind, right? Because those were much more carefree days, I think, compared to, where we are now. But
You want?
I'm good lah, bro.
No, then I guess cheers.
Sparkling, man.
Just that. Normally I don't cheers people who don't drink, but for you I make an exception.
Hey, thank you.
Wow, spoofy.
Of course, bro.
No, I think you would like this.
Tomatin 21.
I need to stay true to myself lah. I'm on a cleanse.
Oh, that's the
So-
biggest bullshit I've heard today, man. It's only been, 5 minutes?
No, it's the first out of 1,000 you've heard before, maybe.
Oh, okay.
We should insert the video of Don dancing at Amsterdam.
Bruh. For Amsterdam. Actually, it just feels like it was yesterday. Now it's like,
If you insert that, then we'll be cancelled tomorrow, to be honest.
oh,
A wise man once told me that the kind of conversations we have, right, it should be recorded and it should be played out for the mass to hear.
Wow. Is that wise man yourself?
No lah.
I think for us, because we throughout our lives and our journey, right, we have spoken to so many people around our age. We are similar age range lah, not exactly the same age, but I'm not going to review how old we are, right? But I think for us, we just want to be able to get our message across to people like us, to tell them, actually there's a way out lah, if things don't go right for you right now, right? So that's why we want to start the against the grain message, the message lah.
When you say a way out, what exactly are we finding a way out of?
Like life, right, in general. I'm not sure. To me, I'm probably more optimistic as a person. But if you read online forums, like Reddit, talk to people, the taxi drivers or your friends or whatever, actually it's more complaining than, like more negative stuff than optimism.
I guess true lah. Singapore is the capital of complaining lah, right?
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
what exactly what are the most common complaints people have these days?
Money is a straight up number one topic with him. There was that video that went viral about this auntie. They said, like, do you have enough money or something? She started laughing. Then she said in Chinese, 钱哪里够?
Actually, in fact, recently there was an article that came out, right? That Singapore...
Which article?
I think it was pretty recent. Basically, it's saying that Singapore and I think, was it Switzerland or somewhere else? Like
Zurich.
That's Switzerland also, right? We tie for the number one spot in terms of the world's most expensive country to live in. You guys come across that shit?
Yeah, it was widely reposted also.
I think it was on Reddit. Yeah, I'm a lurker lah already.
What do you all think? Do you all think Singapore is expensive? It's an expensive place to live in, or actually it's not so much the case in your own experiences.
I guess it really depends like who you are in Singapore. So I have friends who really can get by with the most basic things. Like their breakfast, lunch, dinner can be cai fan all the way, and they're happy. Like they don't need money to feel like they have to, it's a milestone to overcome lah. But at the same time, we also have friends who, if they don't fly business class, you will hear some tirade over social media.
Talking about yourself, is it?
As in, yeah, the way you say it, I'm questioning some
I
friends.
see you last month go. I see you the last 1 month you go take business class twice already or thrice.
No, the last one was on economy.
Oh wow,
I am a business
very
class,
very
but-
humble man. I see.
No, I appreciate very good service and quality for what I'm paying for. And I think business class has always been something that
Yeah, I think that's
You
fair
can-
lah.
yeah.
It's fair. I mean, if you have the means, then why not, right? You pay for something that you value. But I think whether it's expensive or not is a relative one.
Yeah,
From a
fair,
remote
fair.
fishing village somewhere in an island in the Philippines, right? And you go to the capital, Manila, right? It'll probably be expensive.
True.
But if you go from Manila to, KL, it'll probably be expensive for you. You go from KL to Singapore, it'll probably be expensive for you, right? So I think whether the country is expensive on the whole, it depends on what you're comparing it against.
Yeah,
And as Leonard said as well, like what your lifestyle is.
and I would go as far as to say, right, that Singapore is only an expensive place if you want it to be. Okay, why do I say that, right? So if you are someone, okay, let's talk about the average person, right, earning 4-5K a month, right? I think that's pretty much the average income earner in Singapore.
Yeah, that is the median.
Right, so you earn 4-5K a month, right? If let's say your expectations are okay, or let's say you are content, right, with eating cai fan most of your meals, right? You go out, coffee shop, kopitiam, food court. When you travel, you are very happy with going to nearby places, right? Taiwan, China, Thailand, Indonesia, whatever, right? And you feel like, you are very happy to do shopping online, Taobao, whatever it is, right? Your clothes, you don't need to wear like super branded stuff. You're happy going to places like H&M, Uniqlo, whatever, right? In that case, actually, is it really that expensive then? Maybe not so much, right? But if your expectations are that, you want to eat restaurants, cafes every other day, right? That's what you like to do, right? Omakase, Michelin meals. You like to travel to places like Paris, London, the States, Europe. You like to wear branded shit. Then for sure it's going to be expensive, right? So I think for a lot, it's going to be all about what your reality is and what your expectations are, right? It's only expensive, I think, if there is a mismatch in either of the, two. But if they are aligned, then actually, I think it's fine. But here's the thing, right? For a lot of people, I think, their reality is not as high as what their hopes or aspirations are, right? I mean, it's natural to want to strive for more in life. But the thing is this, the moment I feel, right, I don't know what you guys think, the moment a lot of people realize, and they don't mind, right, trying to, okay, so the thing is, they don't mind trying to get from where they are to where they want to be. But the moment they realize what it takes, right, to bridge that gap, the kind of, I guess, commitment, effort, time, sacrifice that's needed, that's when a lot of them might say like, hey, you know what? Maybe I'm okay with where I am right now. Maybe I don't really need all of this extra stuff that I once thought I did. I'm happy with what I have.
complain.
But that's the thing, right?
Okay, then in that case, right, if let's say they accept that this is their reality and they don't do anything about it, they don't take the step, do the effort to get to the next level, earn more money, then they should start complaining, right? Because then it's like a choice.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, that's human nature, right?
Yeah.
When we have, when we have other things that we can potentially point fingers at, the government, right? Expats coming to Singapore to take our jobs or whatever, right? Or whatever other reasons you can think of. It's much easier, I think, to want to attribute blame or reason to something else rather than point inwards. Right? It's just basic human nature. So even for people who are okay with settling for something that's more comfortable, right? Eventually, it may get to a point, I think when life hits, when reality hits, the moment your mortgage comes knocking on your door, your kids start popping out, it becomes that point where it becomes easier to say like, wow, why is my life this hard? Why do things have to be so expensive? Why is XYZ happening to me? Instead of saying like, hey, could I have done something?
Do you feel like in our society as Singapore, is it ingrained in us to treat short-term short-term success or short-term gratitude, right, versus long-term delayed gratification?
Okay.
Yeah. So do you think it's ingrained in our society to treat short-term success as more important versus long-term delayed gratification? Because it's always like what you say, it's easy to hop on the plane and go on our next travel journey, right? Which of course everybody will be happy to take. But I say, okay, if I have to slog 3 years in my career just so that I can climb up one position and then get that pay increment that I've been working so hard for. But that's not even with a guarantee. There's still a chance that someone else could outdo you and take that position instead also.
But I think, at the end of the day, then that position or that pay increment must mean something to you, lah. It must mean enough to you that you're willing to make that choice, right? Not say also that you take 3 years, or maybe if you're good, you're the best in what you do, you make the right connections, you get headhunted or what, maybe you reach the pay increment even faster than that, right? But at the end of the day, you need to know that this is what I want. The worst thing you can do is that you want that pay increment, you want to slog to be promoted just because society tells you that that's the way forward. That's the Singapore dream. But it's not your dream.
So in a way, we have been kind of like groomed to conform to this method.
Yeah, of course. Since like school times, social studies, primary school, secondary school, what matters the most for us? Grades, ma.
Yeah.
I mean, our parents, typical Singapore parents, right? It's all about grades. What you score in school. You don't score well, then you're doomed to, work a shit job with shit pay, your life will suck. But if you score well, then you got hope lah, right? You can become a doctor, lawyer, I don't know, engineer, whatever it is that supposedly is a safe job that can make you a decent living.
Actually, I think it's quite interesting you brought that up, like regarding the short-term, trading short-term, what is it again?
Short-term, long-term.
Prioritizing short-term gain, in exchange for long-term gratification, right? Actually, I have another point of view. I think society or human nature has conditioned us that it's always one or the other, right? If I want this right now, I have to give that up later. Right? If I want X, I must give up Y. There's always this idea of a binary, a trade-off is one or zero, all or nothing. But actually, who's to say that you can't have both at the same time? Who's to say that you can't enjoy all of these things in life right now that you crave, that you want to pursue, and yet still can't do so when you're older or for some future version of yourself, right? If I think you know what you are doing, or if your expectations and reality are always congruent, right, then you don't really run the risk of that too much, right? So I think it's all about knowing exactly what to prioritize, how to do it, and kind of having a way there, right? Rather than you having this idea that, okay, I must sacrifice my present self now for my future, or I'm giving up something in the future to enjoy now. I don't think it necessarily has to be that way.
But this is a wisdom that the three of us only got in recent years also, but we weren't like this at the start of our career.
Yeah, I mean, fair to say. I mean, I guess we are older now. It would be pretty shack if we were still the same people as we were 5 years ago.
No, there are people out there also like, okay, let's say if I take an example of like Gary Vee, right? I've always admired his work ethic.
Gary Vee.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
There's one story that really stuck with me from the beginning of his time all the way to his successes today is that he practically gave up majority of his free time or hobby times in his teenage years, and he worked hard in, I think, a liquor store just so he can achieve what he has today. And there was a call that came in, right? And then he told this lady that the amount of time you spend partying with your friends on this one weekend was more than I did my entire teen years. So I think that was something that really struck me about how much a person can value long-term gain versus the immediate gratification of, let's say, for example, spending time with your friends.
And I guess that leads to like the further point of whether like Singapore is really like meritocratic in a way, right? Because you ask the very wealthy people, I mean, there are people moving their money to Singapore. Yeah, you guys know also, right? Many family officers, high net worth, from China or wherever else in the region, moving to Singapore, parking their money here. If it's really like super expensive, right? They wouldn't come here, right? But also because the way we live or the expense that we pay in the sense that the country pays, right? It's congruent with the fact that it's a safe country. The infrastructure is fantastic. The education is good.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Everything is really good, right? You live like a first world life in most aspects in Singapore.
The thing that always strikes me the most about that, right, is whenever I think like, yes, I think, when you talk about the cost of goods here, right, compared to if you go to Malaysia, you go to Bangkok for a holiday,
Sensitive.
you go to, most of our neighboring countries, right, you talk about the price of, let's say, housing, transport, owning a car, food. Is it factually more expensive, even taking into account exchange rates? Yes. However, right, what people maybe overlook sometimes is what you kind of get back in return, where your taxes are going. I can think of very few places in the world, right, where you can walk out in the streets at night, 2, 3 a.m. Without a care in the world, right?
I mean, you still have to care lah.
You still have to care,
Get banged down by random cars lah.
Yeah lah.
Marked by random dudes at night point lah.
I can tell you, I go to any McDonald's, Starbucks, wherever now, I leave my laptop there, I go away, I go and watch a movie for 3 hours, I come back, it will still be there. But if I go to, I don't know, some places in Europe or wherever, right, in the States, I put my laptop there, I think I go toilet for 3 minutes, I come back, at least 50% chance it's not there already. I guess depending on which part, I mean also, but I think it's just that aspect of, we have all of this infrastructure, safety, whatever, that is often overlooked, but that's also in a way what we are, I guess, paying for.
And in a very weird kind of way, right? Like people who complain, actually they're not the one paying the majority of the tax.
So are you the one paying then?
I mean, no, I'm not paying majority of the tax lah, but I pay a fair amount lah. I would say I pay a fair amount.
So very generous, very generous, man.
I think it's just about whether, delayed gratification, but can we see the way forward? If you can see that you do the hard work for this couple of years and the end result is clear, I think more people will do it.
Yeah,
Take this journey. But I think for a lot of people, it's like, even if I try or even if I do it, bo bao, not confirm.
Yeah.
So then maybe not lah. Why try when it's not confirmed, or why try when it may not work out?
But you know why there's a place or not? Like, on the topic of expensive, not expensive or what, right? I would say this: Singapore is cheap in terms of opportunities, but expensive in terms of the choices you have.
Wow, very deep level.
Can you expand on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned meritocracy just now, right? Okay, I don't think any society or any organization has 100% true or pure meritocracy, but Singapore, right, I think is one of the places where it's as close as it gets already.
Yeah.
Right? From young, it's been ingrained in us. It's, I guess to some extent, propaganda also. But when you live it out, it's really quite true also, right? No matter whether you are born in a more wealthy or well-to-do environment versus if you are not so privileged growing up, you still go to pretty much the same schools. You still receive I won't say exactly the same, but you still receive a similar level of education, right? Where you are still given a platform, I think, to grow and all of that.
Yeah.
But why I say it's expensive in terms of your choices, right, is this. Everybody has theoretically, right, the same opportunities, right? You want to be a doctor, lawyer, software engineer, you want to do whatever you want, you can go and do, start your firm, startup, whatever. But someone who was born from a more privileged background, the truth is you have much more options and choice. When I know I have the room and risk to fail, is it more likely that I am comfortable taking those risks?
Yeah, for sure.
Versus if, let's say, I know now, I'm stably making 4-5 grand a month, right? For me to consider giving that up to start my own business or to go into entrepreneurship, do some kind of online marketing, whatever it is, right? To give that up, especially when I have bills to pay, parents to feed, right? A house to service.
So they can't lah, basically.
Exactly. Like
Can't
you
prove the adult.
technically can, but it becomes a very expensive choice to make because
very big risk.
you are giving up a lot more than what someone else, right, who was more financially comfortable, right, has to do.
So what you're saying is everyone's actually running the same race, but they are at different starting positions.
I guess you summed it up very nicely, lah.
But I mean, you can say that it's unfair, right? But
I don't think it's unfair.
no, I mean, but the masses will say that. I mean, if you are behind, you will say, "Oh shit, it's unfair that I start the race behind."
Yeah.
But if you think about it carefully, okay, for me, I can say it because I felt like I started my race behind. Like,
Fair.
in front, for me, if you all know, I mean, you all know, like, I don't start it very far in front. But I think it's fair because your family, your parents, whoever came before you, did the job, did the work, make the right choices. They did whatever they had to do to put their future generations at the start of the race. What I'm doing right now is to put myself in a position to, if I ever have children, right, to also put them as far forward as I can in the race. And the race is a race that has to be run no matter where you are in the world, right? The race is just matter how the race is structured on it. And that's what everyone would do. And that's why Singaporean parents are so hardcore about tuition, enrichment, preschool, infant care, whatever it is, right? And that's why I feel that it may seem unfair on first thought, but if you think about it more carefully, right, actually it's fair. But not because you had control over it, because you don't. I mean, you're just born into the family, right? But it's fair for your parents who did well, and fair for their parents who did well. And then, they just carry on from there. And you have this mentality, right? I think it's about acceptance. If you accept that, then instead of complaining that it's unfair, right, then it's up to you to start the chain of action, right, to put yourself and your future family forward in the race. And if you can do that, then actually a lot of the troubles are binary. Right?
On this note also, I think what most people also, they do not realize that, right? Like what Don said about Singapore being a very privileged country. There's something called learning poverty, where how much of resources does a country provide to, in a way, educate its residents or younger people and everything, right? Singapore actually has one of the highest, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, based on my research, pretty much spends quite a fair amount of money on education. Every year, about $10 billion on education, even though it's a rather small population. And there are countries that don't even have 5 to 10% of their GDP, for example, to really raise that income gap in the younger people also. If we could start anywhere, starting in Singapore is already...
I would take starting in Singapore anytime. Even
massive.
Starting in Singapore is
the back of Singapore, it's still better than starting somewhere else.
It's a cheat code to start.
I came across this quote before. It goes, I can't remember exactly word for word, but it goes something along the lines of, the life that you are complaining about, right, is only one that others can
dream of.
only dream of.
Grass is greener.
Yeah, like
That's sad, huh?
even if you start at the back in Singapore, the reality is you start at the top 10%, 5%, I think, compared to majority of the rest of the world.
I'm sure the primary school you go to, even if it's ranked like last in the Singapore system, it's probably still like top 10% of like everywhere else, right? In the region.
Like,
and your parents can drive their Mercedes or Audi, park in the NUS car park, kind of visit graduation. There are countries where the parents had to hike 10 kilometers barefooted just to see their child graduate by university.
there are places, I mean, along there also, there are places where students have to wake up like a few hours before school starts every day. Walk there, right? They have maybe like the equivalent of Singapore, few cents a day to feed themselves, right? They have nowhere close, I think, to the level of resources and facilities we have. But you know what's the funny thing? Sometimes they are even happier.
That's deep.
Sometimes they are happier. I mean, on that note, I think the education system in Singapore also, as strong as it is, right? What are your thoughts on like whether it overemphasizes too much on things like in grades and all, whether it places too much stress on the students and
getting a good score. Does getting a good score
the
mean
academic side of it? Because
ultimately,
I think it's a vicious cycle, right? because Singapore is so expensive, or at least the perception is that it is so expensive in terms of cost, right? For a lot of people, parents have this idea that, okay, my priority as a parent is I want to make sure that my child is taken care of. But I'm not going to be here forever. I need to make sure that my child can fend for themselves, right? And the most practical way to do that is financially, right? Because as long as you are financially well covered, I guess, right, you technically will have a pretty comfortable life over here. And there is, I think, a decent correlation, at least for majority of people, that good grades equals to a good career, good income in the grand scheme of things, right? So could it be very well that this notion of expensive, it just goes round and round into the education system, and then from there, when the kids grow up, they perpetuate the same thing over and over again.
So upbringing actually plays a huge part.
Yeah.
But I think we can only say that now because we are reaping what was sown like years ago.
Yeah,
when the country was founded and we were like probably a shit show village at some point, right? Education was the big thing. And they wanted to produce a lot of like professionals, like engineers and whatever not, right? A very, very highly skilled workforce that would be able to compete in the region competitively, and of course, beat whatever countries that are around us in terms of the labor force. And it has worked thus far. And I guess because it worked thus far, if I'm the incumbent government, actually, why change something that...
why rock the steady ship?
Yeah, I mean, it's work, right? And yeah, it's harder, tests are harder, exams are more difficult. You do the PSLE maths paper now, I don't even know whether I can pass or not. Actually,
we try one day, three of us, we
I don't know whether or not, right? But the point is that you're not going to change it because it's a formula that works. And if you deviate away from that, right, you're taking a risk,
fair,
right? You're going against what has brought you so much success with no tangible chance of like results ever happening from that. And we are only, grass is greener on the other side, right? So we only can say this now is because we are here. But if you once again you're in a place where your education is shit, right? Come on, you'll be glad if it's so rigorous.
True.
I mean, you not equip us with the soft skills enough. Fair enough, that one I agree. But our technical ability, our hard skills, right, we're hard to beat, to be honest. And not everyone is gifted with the soft skills, like easy to pick up like a natural, right? But everybody can be trained to do a certain technical hard skill.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the safer way forward, right, in terms of progress as a nation. So I think that's why I think the government did that, and they're continuing to do that. But that's why it all perpetuates the story, right? Like we study hard to get a good job and then to survive in expensive Singapore. But to really, like, I think we want to move the narrative, right? For us, it's like, okay, I was in survival mode. Me and my family, we were in survival mode. It was tough to even maybe make ends meet in the past when I was younger. But now it's more of like, okay, what can I do to thrive instead? And to thrive, I feel like we have to move away from just what the education system teaches us. Just the hard skills. The soft skills, like your mentality, the way you look at things, your mindset, all these are important factors. If you want to thrive in a country like Singapore, which, I mean, to some extent, it is expensive. And that's something that most people don't get the chance to do, because they're so caught up with how am I going to survive tomorrow? But if you spend your whole life surviving, then that's not really a life worth living. I feel
Yeah. So I talked to a few friends before about this, right? So I was just say, like, why do you take this particular path that brought you to where you are today? And a lot of them actually mentioned security, because these are hard skills that cannot make them go out of a job, technically lah. Okay, so but you look at entrepreneurs nowadays, a lot of them will not say, "Oh, I was able to." Okay, don't ignoring the tech sector, where you actually need to learn how to code and everything. But no one's gonna say, "Okay, I knew how to code, and hence I was able to build the empire that I built today." A lot of entrepreneurs, they validate the key points to their success today are, like, for example, being able to build an environment for people to create opportunities to collaborate. Maybe we look at companies like Grab, Airbnb, where they just created a platform, and then which connected potential house owners or service providers to potential potential customers. So what do y'all feel is one thing, right, that you wish you had learned in school that made all the impact it is today for you?
Wow. I think it was it would have been the ability to really communicate with people. As cliche as it might sound, they always say communication skills are what get you ahead in the corporate world, etc., right? And here's the thing, right? There's a very, very good reason why, right? Ultimately, you think about it, every major historical event that I think shaped a lot of the world, was it done strictly or firstly through technical skills, or did it start off with words also? Right? Wars were won and lost and seized with words, right? And I think for a lot of what at least our education system teaches, oftentimes it's not so much about that, right? But when you go out into, I think, the real world, you start having to, speak with people more. Oftentimes, whether, deals are able to go through or not, oftentimes whether things come into fruition or not, depends on how well you are able to either sell an idea or whether you're able to bring your point across to the other person and vice versa as well, right? And I think if schools had more emphasis on this, it would make for, I think, a much stronger society also. The ability to really connect, I think, communicate with people, right? And really kind of just bridge the gap between two strangers.
But difficult to teach, right? Because in essence, it's a intangible.
But it is also because it is difficult, which is why it's worth it.
For you to charm all your girls.
Nothing great, right, ever came easy if you think about it.
Yeah, of course. But it's like, okay, let's say you are a parent right now. We're all parents, right? Our children go to school, the same school lah. Now the school is gonna say, hey guys, we're changing the curriculum. Instead of like 100% of the time, 80% of the time on like math, science, whatever, right? Half of that time, right, goes to like communication skills and whatnot, soft skills, right? I think all of us here will be probably still okay with that.
Okay.
But you ask like 10 random Singaporean parents, they're gonna tell you, right, please lah,
How is this going to feed my child?
So that's exactly why.
They're unaware, right, of the importance.
In that case, right, if you are unwilling to go against the grain, then are you, do you then have a right to complain when life doesn't shape out exactly how you wish it would have been? Right?
I mean,
the reality is, okay, if you take on the path that 9 out of 10 people take, then your life is going to end up like what 9 out of 10 people do. So you are, if you're part of the majority, you end up like the majority. Correct? If you want to be
safe then.
Sorry?
But it's safe.
It is safe.
Yeah.
You survive lah.
You survive.
I mean, yeah, if you're lucky, I guess you survive.
Strangely, is what turns people on most of the time. Like seeing someone ahead of you doing the exact same thing that you are planning to do and actually working.
But safe is sometimes when you think boring. Like there's a reason why people go to theme parks to take roller coasters, or there's a reason why people like to sit in fast cars or these kind of things. Because there's an element of like risk or danger or thrill, right, to some extent. I think...
But that's why not everyone, become Formula 1 drivers or race car drivers.
I agree. But oftentimes when... I think the bigger risk you are willing to take in life, right, the bigger the eventual outcome or reward also that you can hope to get. But if you're not willing to take that risk, right, which is perfectly fine, because to each his own, right? I don't think there's a right or wrong way necessarily to live your life. It's just that if you choose to, just continually take the safe path, then when you get to a point where you realize that, hey, how come I'm limited in my options of what I can pursue in life, then it's not something that I feel that you should have. I would say, everybody has a right to do whatever they want, right? But I think it's like, then don't complain so much, right? That's the reality.
Because you make your bed, right? So you
Exactly.
sleep in it,
Exactly.
right? And then no risk, no chance of return,
But I guess sometimes-
in a way.
I mean, it could also be the case sometimes that people want to do something,
Yeah.
but they want to change something, but they don't know exactly what the steps are. So actually, for yourselves, like, I mean, how do you all break out of that? That Singaporean mode or mentality.
So on this safety topic, right? I think there was one point in my time, like of my life, that I can't remember when, but I think it dawned on me. Safety is a glass ceiling,
Okay.
and it's a mental barrier that given the right opportunities, of course, you have the right position to do it. Also, you should definitely take that chance and get out of that safety zone.
Why?
If you do what Don said, if you do what everyone has been doing so far, then you will get what everyone has been getting also. But if everyone acted that way, there will be many things on this world that will not exist.
But if you try and fail, your ceiling breaks, then you're screwed, right?
Correct.
No more house.
But
You have no more shelter.
in the break or in the fall, you did not come out of this with nothing. You have gained a certain amount of experience, knowledge, expertise, collaborations with other people, or have known some other new, increase your social network also, to the point where it could give you better insights to take on new opportunities in life, or even bring you to a path less traveled elsewhere also.
So basically, a glass half full or empty point of view, lah.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
But once again, people must understand that is worth the risk. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
what we just
Must
said,
be the risk, lah.
it's also intangible, ma.
Yeah.
I mean, you could gain all these things, but you could also end up with nothing, despite
For sure.
whatever you do, right?
Yeah, that's why I say I think ultimately you must be in the right position to do it also. But if I could go back in time and tell my younger self,
Yeah.
I would definitely encourage him to step out of the comfort zone much earlier and go against all these boundaries and achieve and build all the things that I would have had today, maybe even faster or even better.
Then what made you start to go against the grain, I guess?
I think just something in me just realized that life is a little bit boring if I follow everything all the time. Like, I see parents who give everything for their children, which is good, right? This is what parents are supposed to do also, but they end up not having enough for themselves. Which of course then the children learn the same mindset, the same paths, and then they just kind of replicate the same situation all the way. So you just see like a family of followers, but from the third party point of view, right, from the outside, you can see actually that this family actually has a lot of ability, opportunities to kind of like break out of these barriers and do something great for themselves. So just an example. A friend's mom is actually a very great cook, like really restaurant quality kind of cook. But of course you say things like, well, auntie, you should go and open a restaurant. Then they say, 不要啦. But why not? Actually, they have the ample opportunity and chance to go and start something, a business to actually, build upon this.
Yeah, but opening a restaurant is not just about being a great cook.
Example,
that's one element.
element,
But also like business sense, also like, entrepreneurship, also like everything else.
I guess that's what it takes, right? You just need one person to tell you that you can do it first. And then that will spiral into all the things that could eventually come also.
So the key question here, right? Like, I guess for your analogy or your example by your friend's mom, right, who was a great cook. Yeah, I think the question here is like, okay, if she knew that she could open a restaurant and
It could be successful.
no, if she knew that she could open a restaurant, right, and she could not fail, means that it will be successful.
Yeah.
Would she have done it?
I hope she would.
But
I hope
then
many people would.
I would say in this sense, most people would lah, right? If I tell you right now, right, your life sort of sucks, you go against the grain, break your limits or whatever it is to do more and take the chance, right? Entrepreneurship, whatever, and you could not fail. You should take what? Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
100% take, man.
You know, so the fear of failure and the risk of loss is what's
Deterring people.
lah. So what people need to know, right, is that they need to accept that this is part of the cost of, success, if you want to call it that, right? Success is born from failure. No one gets successful like without ever failing in anything, right? I don't think
Not
so,
the first try.
I don't think so, right? So
I mean, three of us also, we didn't get where we were today on the first try also.
Definitely. So I think for us, maybe the message, one of it today, one of the messages would be like, you can't eject or erase failure from your path.
In fact, right, you should embrace it.
Yeah,
You should be grateful, right? I feel. You should be grateful for failure. Because if you are not even failing, it means you didn't even give yourself the chance, or you didn't even have the chance to try. At least if you failed, you know that you tried, and just pick yourself back up again. That's what life is, for a series of, trying, failing, falling, picking yourself again, and then getting better and better and better at it. If people didn't experience failure, if people didn't overcome it, we wouldn't even be here today already. The world wouldn't even have progressed anywhere.
So that this ability or this transition from embracing this mindset, right, actually gives them more opportunities or gives them more ability to take on bigger risks, have a better appetite for all these kind of opportunities also, and actually sets them up for better success. That resilience that you get from constantly telling yourself that, okay, I am able to do this, I should try this even though something says I shouldn't.
So you should fail, basically. The more you fail,
No, I think
the stronger you become.
I think the key word is you should try. You can fail, you can succeed, but either way, you should try.
And I think it's like a combination of what both of you said, right? Because you should try, but you should try at a level where you have a chance to fail. Because some people, okay, like as I said, some people want to play at a level where, okay, let's say if I run a football team, right? I'm the best in my division, let's say Division 3, the third tier, right? I know that I will trash every team here. So I only want to play here. But I don't want to play Division 2, I don't want to play Division 1. Because when I go there, I know I may gonna trash. I may not win all the time, or at all, maybe, right? And that's failure. But we're so scared of failure, we only play in Division 3 forever, for the rest of our lives.
And that's where mediocrity grows.
Exactly.
Yeah, like you have to you have to fail to get better in a way. Like otherwise, I mean, even if you have made it, right, even if you are successful already, but you stop putting yourselves in position of risk where you can fail, then you're no longer growing. And if you're no longer growing, you're as good as dying already.
So I'd also rather be surrounded with people who are willing to try with me, despite knowing the risk ahead and the potential failure, than be stuck in a place where my path has been laid out for me already. And the engineering for success is pretty much halted.
And you guys watch like movies or like cartoons and anime, right? The main character fails.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the story, right?
Well, One Piece is One Piece.
Yeah. They are strong, but then they meet one dude they cannot beat. So they go back and train, I don't know, in the hyperbolic time chamber or whatever shit. Then come back and then wreck his ass. That's season 1. Season 2, season 3, they keep meeting stronger people. But then they get stronger along the way. I think they become the greatest. I don't know, right?
Ash didn't become Pokemon champion until 25 years later also.
But actually, right,
The guy a bit too long.
actually hearing what you all say also, like, now I think about it, if you are not allowing yourself to fail, right, then actually what are you doing with your life? Like, you are always...
Say they are winning.
Yeah,
Right.
but another way to look at it is you are always in your comfort zone. And when you're in your comfort zone, there's no way you can grow. Like I go to the gym today, right? I do a bit of workout, whatever, some weights. I wake up the next morning. I'm not aching at all. Let's say, did I really do anything then? Did I, really, was it even worth my time to go? Conversely, if I head to the gym now, I put it a solid 30 minutes. Next morning, I ache like fuck. I'm dying to get out of bed. Shag, yes. But do I know that I did something worthwhile for myself yesterday? Right. The failure and pain, I think these are things that come together, right? Like bread and butter. If you don't put yourself in that position to enjoy all these things, right, then your life will always be the same as where it is right now.
Yeah, I think once because I think for us also we want to discuss like, if you are a young person, not like super young, not like 20 years old, but let's say you're a young person, 25, mid-20s to early 30s, like us, right? What can they do, or what can we do to go against this expensive standard of living, to thrive instead of survive, right? And like, what can we do to find failure and feel forward? Like, because I think, let's say people hearing this, they'll be like, oh, okay, cool, right? That sounds pretty inspiring. That sounds like it makes sense. Like, okay, I want to do it. But like, how? What? Like, where do I begin even?
If I could start with step one, right? I think first thing first is you need to be able to find a place that is very, very powerful, that can help you grow faster as well. Like the environment that you are in can greatly determine your success path. Like, so there's this saying where I think a shark in a fishbowl will only grow to the size of the fishbowl, right? But a fish in an ocean can grow even bigger than that. So where you place yourself, I think that should be number one thing that people should first evaluate, and then see whether or not the current environment that they are in is actually helping them to grow, or are they actually staying stagnant.
But this is so contentious, right? Because like birds of a feather flock together.
Right.
So if you look at yourself now, right, your environment will be people who are like yourself.
Yeah.
Like mostly.
Yeah.
I know the majority would be. Then how? Like all my friends are like me, or worse maybe, or maybe some a bit better.
That's exactly where that's exactly where the pain part of it comes, right? Growth comes with pain. And part of that pain sometimes is letting go, right, of things which are not, helping you to be the person you are meant to be or you want to be.
But where do you find, like...
I mean, it can be anywhere. I think a good place to start, to answer your question, there are so many routes to success, or whatever your own definition of success is, right? That is like an end point, or it could even be a midway point. But there are, and I would say, an infinite number of ways to build towards that. A very good way, I think, is to look at, okay, who are the people in this world or in your life that you truly admire, right? Who are success figures, role models, right? Whom you think are like, wow, I wish I could be like that. I want to be like them. That these are people that I really look up to. They are brilliant in their own right, in their own field, and study what they did, right? I can assure you, right, 99 or 100% are probably out of all these people, they didn't do things the same way that majority of people did.
Fair.
Right, you're gonna look at what I think has worked before, what works now, and marry and amalgamate these concepts together, right? You start from, okay, maybe you don't know exactly what it is you want yet, but you know that it is definitely not where you are. I think look for inspiration, right? And figure out backwards. So rather than you just, okay, no, I want to be better, but hey, where do I start? Do I wake up at 5 a.m. to meditate and run, 5 km every day? Is that what success looks like? Not necessarily, but there are people who, wake up at noontime every day and they are still fucking successful, right? You have to figure out what your definition of success is. Look for people who have achieved it already, learn from how they did it, and then work out your own roadmap towards it. Right?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's almost impossible to find out what kind of person you will ever become straight away or something, right? So a good point to start is really just emulate successful figures right now. Because if you you interview 10, 20, 30 successful figures today, there is going to be at least 5 recurring themes that they all mention. And it's probably got to do something with like getting out of your comfort zone, getting rid of your mental barrier. There will be a recurring pattern in some of this advice. So that's a good point to start.
And I mean, of course, to emulate is one thing, right? I mean, that's a start, right? But best is like this person can actually like mentor you, right? I mean, that's better, right? Better emulation is direct mentorship from the person. But the question is like, okay, I don't think it's hard to find it, right? Because upon thinking of it, you can, wherever you work, wherever your field, whatever it is, you could be I don't know, like a historian, let's say random job historian. You can see who's the most successful or famous historian in the region, for example. Shoot him an email, a call, whatever it is. I'm sure it's content online. You can say, can you mentor me, right? And funnily enough, right, from what I know about successful people or people who are thriving, they were mentored into that position at some point in their life, right? And they'll be very okay to give back and do the same for whoever comes after them. Just that you need to deserve it, right? Because obviously they're going to have a lot of requests or whatever, right? So they can't mentor like 1,000 people. So you yourself as an individual, like, you need to want it enough. You need to deserve their time lah. Because imagine like you mentor somebody, then you give your time and your effort to this person, and you ask the person to do all these things, and they're like, Don, but no lah. I think it's okay lah. You also sian lah, right?
You find someone worthy to mentor you, but at the same time, you must be someone worthy to be mentored.
Exactly. So it's all in conjunction, right? But the only way that you can get to this worthiness is if you accept that you can be in control of your life, you can be the captain of your own fate. There's going to be pain, there's going to be sacrifice, there's going to be failure. And despite all of that, you're still willing to move forward. I think once you accept that and you're willing to do that, right, then you can seek a mentor, and then you can embrace that mentorship and really do better lah for yourself. But without all of that, I think a lot of people, I mean, from what I've seen, a lot of people like seek mentors, but they're nowhere close to like being a person that is deserving of mentorship. And then that goes down the drain, right? You don't just waste your time, you waste like the mentor's time, which is like infinitely more valuable than yours, right? And then it's just, instead of moving forward, you take a step back, right? So be deserving lah. I think like the key point for me.
So on this note also, right, so okay, this is what I've been reading about so far. There's this thing called the cult of early success. So right now there are things like, okay, Forbes 30 under 30, right?
Isn't that fake though?
Is it fake?
People pay money to be on the magazine.
No, is it? I didn't even know that.
You go and read articles, right? Like half of them are in jail or some shit.
Oh, serious?
Yeah, they're like,
but it's a Singapore, I think there's an Asia version also.
Yeah, all pay money.
All pay money, yeah.
Alright. Okay, don't quote me lah. Sorry, don't cancel me here. Don't quote me. I think it's pay money lah.
Okay, we'll check our sources.
Maybe I open, I will see your names there.
No lah. The true heroes are not on this list lah. Let's just. I feel.
Okay, but let's say there's this thing called a cult of early success. Are you guys on the side of for or against it? Give you some examples. Let's say Lionel Messi, he became pro. He joined Pro Barcelona when he was only 17 years old. The previous chess champion, Magnus Carlsen, became a grandmaster when he was only 13 years old.
Okay.
The youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner was first won it right when she was only 17.
Okay.
A lot of people will say that, okay, wow, this if I'm doing so much things at such a young age, I feel pressured that, my life is never going to be like this. Or do you think that, okay, these are pioneers that's actually paving the way and inspiring people to do much more for themselves?
Why would you feel pressured though?
Well, there are people who are taking that.
So I'm pressured that Lionel Messi is like playing for Barcelona at 17.
No,
I look at my own life and say like, what am I doing at 17?
Yeah.
But why is that pressure? That's just like a wake up call.
I think if anything, it is inspirational.
Yep.
There are people who, at such a young age, have found such dominance and success in their fields already. It's like if they can, why can't I? I mean, not to say I can't. I'm not a chess grandmaster, right? I'm not a pro soccer player. Neither am I a Nobel laureate. But it's more the case where, okay, look, there are people who have done such brilliant things, right? If I use it as a source of, I think, inspiration and hope that I can achieve similar levels of fulfillment and purpose in life, of course that would be great. But if somehow I see that and I think about it as like, wow, shit, that is then pressuring. I scared I cannot live up to that. My life is not anything like that. Then I think perhaps you want to relook at the lens through which you view life, lah. When you start using supposed sources of inspiration and positivity as something negative instead, I think your internal wiring might have something wrong already, lah.
Then you GG already lah, bro.
Yeah, like
no one can help you with that. I think.
You must have brought it up for a reason, right? I mean, have you seen examples of friends or anyone you know who has succumbed to something like that before?
I think in Singapore nothing in particular. But I guess the point I was trying to make also was that when people find success at early age, it doesn't mean that they will find success forever also. Okay, but maybe in those cases I brought up they did lah, right? But I think what I'm trying to say is that success has multi layers of success, and I think the success that we are also trying to go for has a certain element of long-term sustainability to it.
Yes.
So I think maybe the message I want to put out to, let's say, our viewers also is that if you don't find success straight away, you could be slowly moving towards, or you might have the aptitude to be slowly creating something that is gearing you for long-term success instead. And that could actually be something more valuable to look into.
I mean, this is dependent on definition, right? Like, if let's say your success is to play for Barcelona, then maybe you will never be successful, lah. Right? I mean, it could be, right? But let's say my success is now I earn 5K per month. If I can get to 7K per month, that is, I mean, I feel like
And that's pretty good.
in my endeavor, right? Maybe the end goal is not 7, but maybe the end goal is 5-figure, like be that.
Yeah.
But from 5 to 7, on the way to 10, that is success, in a way. So you need to be able to look at it and say, hey, right, I'm moving forward, right? Moving forward in itself is one of the criteria of success, in its very nature, right? But if you look at it all the way at the end, we have to be rewarded constantly, right? If not, we quit halfway. I mean, that's just the way we work, right, as humans, because we are comfort creatures. So if the goal is too far, or if the success is, in a way intangible because it's many, many, many years away, then it's more likely that we give up on the way. But if, let's say, you look at it on a step-by-step perspective, it's easier to quantify. And if you term that as success, then you are also successful. I mean, not versus Lionel Messi or Magnus Carlsen, definitely, but versus yourself 1 year ago.
Yeah, that's a good benchmark. Yeah.
You 1 year ago definitely not as successful as you today, fair? And that's good enough. I mean, to me, that's good enough for a start, right? But you also must be practical and pragmatic to know that, like, okay, not that last time you earned 5K per month, now you earn 5.1K, and then, like, I made it. Then no lah. Then that one
Like,
illusion.
don't over celebrate, but also don't under celebrate.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, life is a marathon, right? You may start the race slower than your peers, your friends, whatever. But there is no one saying that you cannot catch up and even run past them at some point, right?
So continuously putting yourself in a good position to succeed.
Yeah, as long as you don't like run halfway and then you say like, oh shit, I want to drop out, I cannot carry on. I think the act of finishing what you started, right? Seeing through what your younger or inner self wanted out of life, you see that through. You have every right and every bit of success that you deserve. You should be proud of what you did, basically.
As you go along the way, right, comfort is the real enemy of sustained success, right? So maybe you were at 5, and now maybe you're at 9, right? You said, oh, wow, that's almost double of where I am. Actually, my life really comfortable now. Perhaps I can take a chill pill. Maybe I stop here for a while, relax, enjoy my 9K per month. But perhaps your real potential, if you really kept going, if you really kept improving yourself, right, could have been 20. Perhaps, maybe, right? But because you stopped at 9 due to the fact that you really achieve some success and you're comfortable, and that's detrimental, right? And the truly great people, they don't stop because it becomes comfortable, right? So when you're in survival, you need to do enough to get to a level of comfort. But once you reach there, right, your definition of success will have to change a bit, right? It will have to be more purpose-driven, no longer based on like the material things like the money I earn, or the things that I own, or the car that I drive, or the house that I live in, or the things, or the meals that I can eat, right? It should be about what you want to do with your life, right? And then that would then bring you to the highest level, I would say. But I think that's not a conversation really for today. Today is more of like, how can we even like survive the current situation, right? But I would say, having this conversation with you guys, it just made me realize that it's not even that difficult to thrive, right? Because, of course, 3 of us sitting here, I would say we are not in survival mode, right? Thank God for that. We are not, of course, due to hard work or whatever it is, we are not. And we know so many people, right, who are also not, right? They are made past that, and they're doing well and successful and thriving as well. and they're all around this age, right? Some even younger than us, and they do it much faster than us also, right? And I think this gives me like hope lah, to see and say that, hey, you know, if you're watching this, there is hope for you, right? Maybe you don't know the way forward. Maybe it's like a dark tunnel with no end point, and like your flashlight battery not working, and like you don't know what's ahead. But sometimes you just need to keep walking, or you find some sort of guiding, like what we discussed, a mentor or whatever it is, right? Learn from that person, and eventually the tunnel will end, right? I mean, end of the tunnel is light, what? Right? And you know, how tunnels work, right, is that when it's totally dark, right, it seems longer than it actually is. But when you can see the light at the end, suddenly, right, actually so short. The end is so near, right? So I think for most people that are listening to this, maybe their tunnel is dark.
Yeah.
They cannot see the end, right? So I think if I were you, if I were them, find a way to see the end for themselves. And when you can see the end, right, then I think it's their beginning in a way.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got one question. How many tunnels were you in to get this epiphany?
How many tunnels? What?
How many tunnels were you in to get this epiphany? I mean, it must have come to you when you're in a tunnel. Oh yeah, it's quite long.
Several tunnels, I would say,
Several tunnels.
throughout my life, you know.
But using his analogy also, right? If the tunnel is so long, and to walk this path horizontally forward, right? You don't know exactly whether you're even going the right necessarily direction or not. You don't know, how long the distance takes. Maybe what you want to do, right, is to find a fucking drill and drill upwards and climb out of the, So what I'm saying is that, right, perhaps the strategy you have been using, the things you have been doing, is great if you have the tenacity to not give up, to persevere all the way, right, to do what you are doing.
Yeah.
But sometimes you may not even know whether you are heading in the right direction, what you are doing will even bear fruit, whether it's even something of 有效果 or not, What you want to do maybe is to do something completely radical, right? Totally out of your comfort zone, totally something that no one would expect, right? And then perhaps that's where you want to hit. Perhaps
But someone still have to show you how to use the drill.
Yeah. So
in the darkness, you probably can't even find a
I
drill.
guess that's what you need to start. That's what you might need to find, right?
Yeah.
Someone who can teach you how to build your own drill, or
And
someone
someone,
who can give you
someone that has used this drill to success, right? I mean, I think that's the best way forward. Yeah. I would say there are many ways out of the dark tunnel.
Yeah.
So let's say like being in the right environment could also mean that, okay, it's a difference between someone telling you, hey, let's get out of this tunnel together, or it could also be the person that says, no way out lah. Let's just wait here and await our death, for example.
Yeah, and okay, some group of friends, okay, I don't have any more, but I think I'm sure people have this group of friends, right? Every time we all meet, not us, everyone, every time we all meet, like, they just complain.
Yeah.
And like, oh, shit, the tunnel's so dark, it sucks, like, everything is bad, and, we are screwed.
Yeah.
Then you should get out of this circle, because nothing good is going to come out of it, man.
What do you say to people who, like, wow, but your friends were there for you when you were not there yet, and then now you think you like successful already, you want to drop them?
I would say thank you. I would say thank you to your friends for being there where I was. I needed them, and they helped me, and probably I also helped them at that point of time, right? But that was you yesterday, right? And that was functional for you, at that point of time, and it was. I mean, friendship is mutually beneficial, right? I mean, we are friends because you like me, I like you, and it just works that way, right? So it was beneficial then, and now that you are striving for something more or ahead, if they are really your friends, right, they will still be on board, I feel they will still be on board. They will still be on your side. They will still be able to support you and help you to get out of this tunnel on this journey, But if they're not, and say, hey bro, no the tunnel is so long, I think never mind you just stay with us, and we just stay here forever. You need to think twice, because you are making a decision not for your past, which you will be if you keep those friends because they help you in the past, right? But make a decision for your future.
And I guess like be the change that you want to see also, right? So you can also be the friend that says, hey, actually, why not you join me on this path to being a better version of ourselves, to find new ways to succeed. And then, I mean, let's say you talk to me, I talk to you. I don't think we want our conversations to always be complaining also, right? 1 day later, complaining, 2 days later, complaining. Yeah. Why not 1 year later, we know what we can do now, but 1 year later, our conversations can be shit. I can't believe we are finding out the hellhole.
Well, I guess that's why now I know why I hang out with you all so much.
If you drink more whiskey, I hang out with you more.
Yeah, I think also we have been fortunate to have great friends as well to, push us forward.
Yeah,
Right. I mean, we are not perfect human beings. I mean, myself, I think I'm also pretty a creature of comfort and lazy to some point.
Yes.
Right. I think without some of my friends, maybe you guys as well, I think I wouldn't have gone as far as I have. Right. That's why I think environment is king to some extent. You do have environment, at least have someone, a mentor. Right. Yeah.
So on the mentor thing also, just another word or message to our viewers, like if you're willing to stretch out your hand, actually I'm quite sure there are many people who are willing to come out and help you also.
Yeah.
There are plenty of mentors out there who are willing to pay it forward and give it back. And I mean, 3 of us especially also, we find so much joy and pride in being able to guide the next generation of successful entrepreneurs to where they can be.
I mean, 3 of us, we are benefactors of people who paid it forward to us.
Yes.
So I think it's only fair that we pay it forward back in kind. I think if we didn't have the right, I guess, environment, back then we didn't have the right people to show us the way, I don't even know where to start imagining what we'd be doing now.
Could still be a whole play Monster Hunter.
Maybe.
Probably so.
Yeah, probably still in the dark tunnel.
Yeah, but
Yeah, so I guess in summary, few things, right?
Yeah.
For us, 1, good environment. 2nd, accept that there's going to be failure and pain, right? 3rd, find a mentor. If you can't, then emulate somebody that's very good, right? 4th is like, if you make a choice, then don't complain. And 5th is like maybe, do something radical and something out of your comfort zone, right? For growth, right? And then I think if you do all of that, and you do it well, I don't think you even need to do everything. We do like a few of those things. You do it well, and I think the end goal is that you will find Singapore not expensive. You yourself Singapore is expensive, but you will find it
A little not comfortable.
I mean, at the end of the day, your reality is pretty much what you shape it to be.
Agree.
Right? If you, whatever kind of life you want, you need to go and put yourself out there for it. You need to go and suffer and pain for it, right? If you are not willing to, then like what you say, I don't think you have a right to. I mean, you do but I don't think you should complain. But if you really want something more, then go and grab the bull by its horn. So, as simple as that
Yeah, so be the change and go against the grain.
I guess so.
On that note, right? Okay, let's say, I mean, if you're listening to this and it works for you and, it's helpful, then I think it's great, right? But I think since it's been a great talk.
Yeah,
just sit here and just like talk for I don't know how long, right? But I'm sure since it's been awesome, right? I'm sure there's going to be other times that we will do this as well. What do you think are some of the things that, we will be likely discussing in the future?
I think we can also let the audience have a say. Let them put the
I
comments
think that's a good question. Maybe they want to find out more specifics on exactly how, right? Today we talked pretty much about the what, to some extent maybe the why, but definitively the how. Perhaps that's something we can dive deeper into next.
Yeah, I think a lot of I would say pressing issues, but I think more topics that people would be concerned about, like for example, whether you should have kids in this day and age, right? So expensive, whatnot. Don't even want to be burdened for a child, or like, should you get married? Is marriage even like important.
I think I know why you're asking that, lah. Is it?
Hint, hint, hint.
Hey, don't get me in. I don't get in trouble. Sorry.
How tough is it to find like a partner, you know, in
Wow.
Singapore at this age, right?
Not for Leo, lah.
I mean,
No, for me.
of course, but he's always been good at these type of things, right?
Can't deny.
Yeah, so I guess, you know, stay tuned to all these things, and then we catch you guys some other time.
Hey, see you next time.